Welcome back to the Making a Multi-Million-Dollar Med Spa podcast, where we have real conversations about what it takes to run a successful business. Thank you for joining us as we share our day-to-day successes and, even more importantly, failures and mistakes. Listen in as we host some of our peers, colleagues, and other experts in the field. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Today I'm talking with Meredith Keller, nurse practitioner at AesthetiCare and trainer with Mint Aesthetics. Meredith graduated from college with a communications and marketing degree, but after entering the workforce, she knew it wasn't for her. She transitioned to nursing, which paved the way for her introduction to aesthetics. After 6 years with AesthetiCare, after going back to school and raising 2 boys at the same time, Meredith now shares her expertise through training at Mint as a nurse practitioner. In this episode, we will discuss transitioning to a career in nursing and aesthetics, changing clients' life through Diva, and so much more. Now on to the episode. All right, I'm so excited to have you here today. You have just been through such an amazing journey, and I'm so proud of you. And you're welcome. I'm just excited for you to share just a little bit about your journey before we get started, and then I'll go into some other questions for you. But first of all, I have Meredith here with me today, and she is one of our rock star team members at AesthetiCare, and she's been on quite the journey over the past couple of years. So maybe just start with how we found you, and then from there, what were you doing before you started with AesthetiCare, and why did you make the decision for aesthetics? Let's start with that.
Okay, so that's actually kind of funny. I went to a girls' night here for one of my friends.
Oh, that's right. Yes. One of like the lunch and learn, girls' night out.
She's actually your pediatrician.
That's right.
Yes, and Matt and I was looking for something because I was in the hospital, which is wonderful. I loved working at St. Luke's, cardiac, everything, emergency, floating. That was what I thought I was just going to do, and I was going to stick with it. But then kids throw a wrench in the plans. Those were long hours, and people that do it are amazing. I just was kind of tapped out. And then I thought, I'm just going to find something outpatient, something else. And when I came here, Matt's exact words were, "We want you to leave here, wanting to come here and to work here." And I was like, I could work here.
I love that.
So I came here.
So you came to the girls' night out just because you thought you might want to have treatments or something, or because Dr. Ham invited you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I wanted my veins treated.
Okay.
By the wonderful artist. And so I was like, I want to get my veins treated and I want to get Botox. So I came in, and then when I talked to Ardit, I said, "Are you guys ever hiring nurses?" And she said, "No, never. Everyone stays here. Nobody leaves. You'll never get hired." And I said, "Okay, thanks."
Love Ardit.
And I was like, okay. But anyway, so I came back from my second treatment. I brought my resume just in case, and I wrote a very nice cover letter, and I brought it to Rick, manager, and then and Matt liked it. And it turns out that he decided he was going to add a nurse because they hadn't lost one. Mm-hmm. And then he called and said, basically, in Matt's nice way, "We probably won't hire you because you don't have any experience, but if you want to come in and chat." So I did, and I guess he liked me. So then he talked about my experience and why I wanted to go into aesthetics. And then I didn't think that's what I wanted to do. But then after I learned more about it, there's just so much more with aesthetics as far as just like, it's not just, plastic surgery and people wanting Botox. It's lasers, and there's so much more that goes into it. There's so many things you can do, just helping people in a different way. And after I did a lot of research about it and talked a lot with Matt, and then realized as a nurse I can do not just injections but lasers, things like that. And then when I started, it was amazing because then we brought on things like the Diva and Sulfina, which I could use a little bit more of my medical background for, which I loved.
Yeah. So once you kind of the journey of coming on board and onboarding, learning from injectables to lasers, kind of take yourself back for a minute. Was it exciting? Was it overwhelming? Was it how did you feel during that time compared to what you were doing before?
Well, I thought, I worked in a lot of different places at St. Luke's and cardiac, neuro. I was like, surely I could do Botox. That's not going to be that hard. But then as I started, even the first, I thought, and it was a little bit more challenging than I thought it was going to be. And especially I was a little overwhelmed on the first BBL training. even though you were amazing, I was just like, oh my gosh.
It's just a lot. I think BBL compared to others.
Well, it's just
so if you're out there listening, don't give up. BBL is awesome.
Yes, it's amazing.
Just a lot to learn in the beginning.
Yes, there's so many steps and so many bells and whistles with that machine. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was just way more than I thought. But then if you just break it down in little pieces throughout the process, it seemed to just click.
Yeah.
And then I like lasers a lot more. I started out liking injection, but I like lasers a lot more. Now they're kind of both the same.
Both the same.
Yeah. 6 years in.
So you mentioned Diva, and I'm just curious, where are you with that? Maybe first of all, what is that treatment? They may not know. And then also what excited you about that?
I liked it because it's just treating different people in a different way. And I like that we could treat people, not just aesthetically, but more emotionally, and then also for certain medical issues like post-cancer and if you have Sjogren's syndrome and things like that. I've got a few clients in that category, and it just watching them be more excited and have a better relationship with their partner, and also just changing the life of people that sounds aggressive, but changing the process people would have stress urinary incontinence. It hinders what you can do, and when it works, it's amazing.
Yeah, so just a quick recap. Diva is a technology that Cyton's developed. It's a fractional laser technology. It's a treatment that the device gets inserted into the vagina. It takes about 3 to 6 minutes to do the treatment.
Yes.
And I will never forget when it was Ardith who came in and said one of her clients had been crying with joy.
Yes.
Post-treatment, not because of the pain.
Yes.
Because it really doesn't hurt that much. But
no, it's one of the easier treatments that we do, I think.
I mean, it just was so rewarding to hear how one of our clients hadn't had sex with her husband in 5 years and was able to have sex again. And I thought, oh my gosh, I want to shout this from the rooftops, that there are treatments out there that can help women that, most of them don't even know that it's available. And I'm sure partly because my mother went through that years ago. And so it really pulls my heartstrings. But it's amazing. So I wanted to.
When you hear women describe having intercourse with their spouse or partner, it feels like knives. That's not comfortable. And then it puts a strain on a relationship because intimacy is important. And then just watching people kind of experience joy again and have intimacy where it's not painful or they're not looking forward to it. It's nice. But also, just from a medical perspective, especially the people that have been through cancer and like your mom, and then the Sjogren's syndrome, they're so dry, urinary tract infections get really prominent. So if you can, lubrication really helps with that too. And that helped my Sjogren's patient or client a lot. She hasn't been on an antibiotic since she started Diva.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So I think that is just great. I mean, it just helps with your whole system and day-to-day life.
So since you've gone back to school,
so they wouldn't do that here, yeah.
So maybe share why,
and
then a little bit about that journey, and then what you feel like the future holds with that, or what you're excited about with it.
Well, originally I was either going to work here or go to nurse practitioner school. And then when I got this job, I thought, well, let's see what happens here. And then when I realized getting my nurse practitioner would also help, that's kind of when I decided to go back and do it. And I think it just gives nurses a little bit more autonomy. As far as processes, as far as Botox and injections, it doesn't change that much, but I like to be able to take the next step with my patients and help them personally instead of passing it on to a physician. Even though you're still kind of there helping through the process, I like just being able to do it myself, and then with the guidance of a physician, and then also just having a little more knowledge about what I'm doing, especially with something like Selfina, which is a little bit more invasive, or Diva.
Right.
Yeah.
I think at one point during this, you told me you were having a conversation with Mary, who's Dr. Mary Hem, a pediatrician and your friend.
Yes.
And you were talking to her about it, and there was a comment made like, well, Meredith, you're going to be 40 and you're going to have it.
Oh,
or you're going to be 40 and you're not going to have it.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yes.
And I thought, I love that, because no matter what, you're going to be 40 at some point, you're going to be 50 at some point. You can either do it or not.
You can do it or not. Yeah. I know, she told me, well, she's the one person I probably should have asked because she's the biggest overachiever of our friends. But I said, I don't know, I'm going to be 40 when I graduate. And she was like, and she's being a physician, she was like, well, you can be 40 with a degree or you can be 40 without a degree. Either way, you're going to be 40. So I was like, oh my gosh, but I'm going to be working with kids. And she was like, you're going to be working with kids anyway. And I was like, oh my God, fine, you're right, I'll do it. So I did. And it was the best advice I probably ever got. It was good.
So, I mean, it just is so inspiring to me because you went back to school, you have kids, you were still working, your marriage is still thriving.
Yes.
Yes. Like how? Like what did your day look like?
Well, I think it's just, everyone just kind of figures out what they're going to do whenever they get into a stressful situation. And everyone says, oh, I can't do that. But you can once you get into it. So it's just come to work, just how to process. Come to work, take care of the kids, put the kids to bed, do your schoolwork, come to work, take care of the kids. Just kind of every day. And then you just get in the groove of it.
You did tell me you'd get up earlier though.
Yeah, sometimes I would do 4 a.m.
I mean, like, so get up, do your job, like get up at 4 a.m., y'all. Not just like get up, but get up at 4 a.m.
Yes. Sometimes if I put too long studying for a test, and then I would do my 4 a.m. study sessions a week before I did the test. Because I told myself, I'm getting through this, and we are getting through this at the appropriate time, and we're going to be done.
Yeah, and you did it.
Yes!
Congratulations again and again and again. So proud of you.
It was hard, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to do it.
Yeah. So what are you most proud of or looking forward to or like within that experience, you know?
Well, even just in the last month having it, it's been nice. I look forward to like helping all the providers with any of their issues, being able to answer questions with a knowledge background of what's going on, and being able to just, the littlest thing, just being able to prescribe the medication right then and there after meeting with the client and having that conversation.
So nice.
Just really it just helps to like speed the process along.
Yes.
And I just love science and medicine, and so it's nice to just learn more about it. And when something comes up I don't know about, then we research it, talk to the doctor, and move forward, so I get to learn something new every time.
So what's been one of the most difficult situations, whether it was a case or a customer, client relationship, or school, or balance? Like, what has been one of like your learning moments? And I don't want to say difficult, but kind of difficult, but also like growth or a learning moment.
Oh gosh, that's a hard one. Well, I think they've had a lot of little things. Well, growth, just being able to time manage, because that's not been I haven't been bad at it, but it's not been a strength of mine my whole life.
I mean, it's certainly,
so
I think maybe you just have seen that in the wrong light, because watching you go through all this, I think that is certainly one of your strengths. So
I think that
maybe realizing that you failed it.
Yes. Maybe realizing, I can't do that. Probably, I don't even know. I think as far as, a teaching moment I had last couple weeks as a nurse practitioner is just having someone have significant pain after a procedure, which is cool sculpting. And talking to the doctor, working through it together, and just finding the process for something. And it turned out to be something completely unrelated to cool sculpting. And it was nice just to be like, you know what, I think just learning more about that and pushing them in the right direction in the appropriate time so they could take care of their health issue that they're having. So I think that was a really good learning moment, to know when to like step back and be like, you know what, this is not what is related to cool sculpting, and moving forward, and then even helping her through that process, because that's a teaching moment.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think every process is a teaching moment.
Yeah. So what's been something that's been the most rewarding? And I know we've already talked about diva. I mean, there's quite a few in that conversation I think that we've had.
Oh yeah, there's a lot with that one. I think from a nurse practitioner's perspective now that it's new, just helping the providers, but then also from just being here in the treatment's perspective is helping people when they get their post pictures, and even a lot of people that just really want that natural look, that have never done anything, but then they're seeing the aging process, and if they just trust you to do laser, and then they can see the results.
Yes.
You know what you're doing, and they're so happy. That's rewarding to me. I'm not curing cancer, but that's fun.
It's so fun.
Yes.
I'm obviously like a huge I love lasers so much,
yes.
But and it's just honestly, it's because year after year after year after year after year after year with me, it's just once you've got that technology and you understand it, you've got it down,
yes,
and you get those results, and it's just consistency,
yes,
that I just thrive on,
yes,
you know, and so I always joke, like, I make the Saiton Kool-Aid and I hand it out, but it's really because of that, because it's technology that I trust, because my clients love it. And so,
they're so excited when they see. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know I could do that."
Yeah, yeah, in such a short period of time.
Treat
2 treatments, 3 treatments, sometimes even 1 treatment.
Yes.
I hate to say
yes.
that,
No.
but even still, you know,
yes.
it's just like such a short period of time. You get to see so much improvement, and so much change. So,
and that's actually another, to answer another question, like 5 questions ago. One of the things I learned the most from being here is being. I've never been a salesperson, so I'm not very good at that, but just being very direct with people and being very clear and using more of the education route, that has helped me so much over the last few years, and I think that's why I've been getting more consistent results and things like that. I think that has been just talking to the client and being very direct.
So I love this conversation because you're one of our top providers, week after week, month after month, and yet you don't like to sell.
I'm not a seller. I can't sell anything.
But I love that because I also don't like to sell it. You know, it's not about sales to me either.
Yes.
And I have found, like, probably too why I love the education piece so much is because it gives me that confidence, and then I say, this is going to work for this person, and it might range a little bit, but you know they're going to see X, Y, or Z, whether it's the downtime that they're going to see, the experience they're going to go through, the results they're going to get, and those treatments are the ones that give me so much confidence that it's hard not to talk about it.
Yes.
And so it's like not selling. It's just talking about what you're passionate about because you've seen it work over and over again.
Yes, yes. Yeah. It's not having the client talk you into the cheapest route as a person that's doing the treatment, but the one that works. I think I've gotten a lot more confident being like, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
We need to do this. Let's save the money for what's gonna work and come back to me.
Yes.
And that has been, once I started doing that, night and day.
Yeah, and I have to put in a little commercial because the e-courses are out there.
There you go.
And I have to because, like, I mean, I know that I'm developing them, but I think that they're so amazing. And I was watching this course yesterday, and it was just on overall education and about paying for speed. Like, pay to get you there faster.
Yes.
Instead of waiting a year or 5 years or 10 years to learn how to do a BBL halo combination appropriately so you get amazing results. Like, just pay to learn how to do it now.
Yes.
Whether it's with us or someone else, I don't care. But like, it's for both of us, I can tell it's that the education piece, the training piece, the seeing it, then believing it, and then it comes easy.
Yes.
So
yes,
I have to share it. I have to say it. Okay, so then I'm curious just overall in your life because I see you as a mother, and I see and feel the relationship that you have with your husband, and just how you are such a leader at work, and like, what drives you in life? Like, what brings this passion out? Like, what do you think about? Like, what are your kind of goals and vision and dreams, and like, what really drives all that?
You said these are going to be easy questions.
I'm sorry. I mean, but you make it look so easy. I mean, it's like.
Well, the most obvious is obviously my kids, and then I don't know. I think with age has helped, and I think I just decided I'm going to do what I like to do and do what I want to do and do what's best for my time, and then not try and do something more than I should, and just kind of think what can get me to the next step, what I want to do, and then just, if that even makes sense.
It makes so much sense. Like, I think about those things a lot, and even right now, the conversations I have with my kids, I did like a goal setting workshop with Jackson and Amy last night. So my 6-year-old and 20-year-old were doing our goal setting, but they really, I think it was great to do it with them together too, for him to learn and see her. But so anyway, I was doing that with her, and so much what I've been trying to help them understand is that if you find something you're passionate about, the money will come.
Yes. Yeah.
And what you just said, like, you decided you were going to do what you wanted to do with the time that you wanted to give it. Having your kids and making the change from working late nights and probably long shifts to finding aesthetics and a passion in aesthetics that you didn't know was there.
Right.
but it's like being able to build that and put it together. For me too, it took a lot of years. And like the longer you're in it and the older I've gotten, and the more I've like looked at myself to see like what I really want, and then to be able to help my kids do that, you know, it's like I just want them to get that earlier. I don't want them to wait so long. I mean, I luckily I fell into this industry like first thing, but nobody sat down in the beginning with me as a kid and said,
"Oh my gosh, no, I did." I majored in communications and marketing, and then I sat down at my first job. Well, mainly because I didn't want to leave K-State to go to KU for nursing school. But I was
don't tell Matt that.
I know. not a KU person. I mean, KU is wonderful. I was ready to. I said, I want to love college, and then I sat down at one of my first jobs as a marketing person / promotions person, and I thought, this is terrible. I can do this forever. And then I just reevaluated everything and then went to nursing school, which is probably the biggest change. And I loved it. It was really hard, but I loved it. And then now as I've aged, it's nice to just not.
Did you have a mentor, someone that said, why don't you look at the medical world instead? Like what took you from communication to nursing?
Well, my mom is in the medical field, and she always told me I should be a nurse. And of course, she's my mom, so I didn't want to listen to her because she doesn't know anything. Turns out she knows everything. You figured out when you're like 25. So if I had listened to her earlier, I would have had a longer career in nursing. But I mean, I changed career path in like 24, so it wasn't too short after K-State, but. And then my mom. And then when I was working in promotions, I went to a health event. It was like, I think Shawnee Mission at the time, now it's called Advent, put on a women's health event. And just listening to women talk about their health struggles and what they're doing to achieve it and how important it was to them and the nurses that helped them. I thought, you know what, that sounds a little bit more rewarding. Yeah. And then I think it was a few months later, I applied for nursing school.
Yeah. So cool to hear people's stories and like, so much you've done, you know, like you've gone through so much to get where you are, but it's just like all the.
I don't recommend doing it at 40. If you can do it earlier, that's good. But it's
still works out.
It's fine. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I think so many times too we think about retirement being at like the age our parents thought about retirement, but for me, I look at retirement as much later. Like I don't feel myself retiring until much later in life because I want to be healthy. I mean, forever.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I know. You know, but it's I think we're going to live longer. We can be healthier longer. That there's so much more now that we have access to than my parents did. And so, you know, it's nice to find, it's a dream to find something that you love and you can make money doing. But I think that it can be done. Everybody can do that if they really want to.
And I think it's different now too, because you can incorporate your job with your life and have a little bit more balance and then continue to do things that you like to do when you figure that out around the age of 40. Yeah. And then you just keep going, even though you're like, you can retire, you know, comfortably or whatever, but you just, for your brain and your body, you can just keep doing the things that you want to do and just nitpick. Yep. Yeah, because I think originally it was work 8 to 5 and then you retire at 65.
Yeah.
And then you just sit at home. Which I can't do.
I am not going to do that. No. I've never been built for that.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're gonna be stuck with me for a minute.
Me too.
Yes. Best answer over here. Okay, so just one more question. We'll finish up. But like, any advice you'd give your past self, like whether it's a 20-year-old or 30-year-old self, or anything you think back on?
I think, well, when I decided to switch careers completely from a bachelor's of arts in marketing to nursing school, and then also this same process, nursing school to nurse practitioner school, and moving into aesthetics, is I don't think there's a problem pulling the trigger. I think I waited. I applied to nursing school, and then I thought about it, and then I waited another year, and then I applied again, and then I thought, should I do this? I'm too old. And that was when I was 25, which I wasn't too old to do that. I wish I would have just said, just do it.
Just do it.
You know what? It's either going to work out or it's not. Either way, you're not liking where you are, so.
Yeah. Just do it faster. I have to give you some props, though, because you pulled the trigger.
Yes, I did.
A lot of people will wait 5, 10, 15, 20 their entire life and not pull the trigger.
Yes.
So good job, sister.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I did it. Yeah. Well, Mary told me I'm going to be 40 with 3 without a degree, so you might as well do it. It's like, oh, you're right.
But all along the way you did it. You know, it is one of those things, though. And I think sometimes when I'm thinking about pulling a trigger, I think as I've gotten older, I've done it quicker. And I've failed.
Yes.
More at some of the things, but then again, it's one of those things I'm like, who cares? At least I did it.
Yeah.
And I learned from it. And now next time I'm going to pull the trigger faster.
Yeah.
And now I can take what I learned and move it into that. And so it's like,
Well, even if you fail at the things, that you can still get to where you want faster. Because you're like, well, that didn't work. Let's move on.
So true.
Yeah.
Isn't that so true?
I think when you're in your 20s, you're scared of it not working. And then I guess as you age, you're just like, well, I guess I'll just keep going.
Yeah. I'm going to have to keep going in one
going
direction.
anyway.
Yeah, one direction or another. Oh, well, Meredith, I am so glad you came to that girls' night out.
I am too. I didn't think I'd leave with possibly wanting a job, but yes, it was amazing.
It's amazing how the world works out and how energy brings people together and how you saw something and thought, why not? And went for it.
And I appreciate Matt saying something to me and taking a little risk.
I so appreciate him. We talk about it all the time. We are so grateful you're here. So thank you. And thank you for doing this podcast and sharing, because there's so many providers and just, people out there that are even maybe thinking about just getting into aesthetics, period. And to hear your story, it's just so powerful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. We would love it if you left a review to help other providers and clinics find us. Also, if you want more information about anything we discussed in this episode, check out our show notes. Until next time, this has been the Making a Multi-Million-Dollar Med Spa podcast.